So ITIL 5 has been released. It's a new version. It's the first version for about 8 years now. So we're going to have a look at what's changed, what's new, what's staying the same. The first thing about ITIL 5 is it's not a reset. It's just an evolution of ITIL 4, designed for digital, product-centric, AI-enabled environments. Your current knowledge, your current certifications remain valid. The transition is being described as intentionally low pressure. So, what are the headline changes? We're going to look briefly at all of them, and then I'll dig into a few of them in a bit more depth on this video, and then I'll do some more videos later digging into a bit more of it as we go on. So the first thing is digital. Digital is now what ITIL is calling itself. It's a framework for digital IT. This stems from the fact that ITIL was originally developed in an era when IT technicians understood the IT, and it was very central around IT. It was very much centered around the IT of ITIL. Nowadays, the organization makes use of technology to do digital business. So we had to kind of shift the focus away from it just being about the IT technician's view of the world to actually what's digital technology and how does that evolve around the organization. They've also therefore moved the emphasis away from it just being about focused around IT. It's actually now a framework that meets the enterprise service management characteristics. A service is a service, whether it's an IT service or whether it's providing a room facility. So it can now be used very much as an enterprise service management framework. They've moved from the principle where we only had one life cycle for the whole of service management, and there was this assumption that actually there was a product life cycle going on somewhere, but it wasn't explicit. So now they've teased this out and said that actually it's a unified product and service management life cycle. We'll explore that in a bit more depth in a second. There is a clearer value chain. It was always a little bit confusing, but they've clarified it. That one I'll deal with at a fairly high level, and I'll do another video about it later. It is now considered to be AI native guidance. So we'll look at what they mean by that. They've bumped up the AI element of it, as you would expect. Everything is AI now. So that's actually built into all of the guidance. Everywhere you look within the guidance, there is a reference to how could AI help this, or what sort of things does AI facilitate within service management. There's a couple of things that they've added to the value statement. So previously it used to be value is utility plus warranty. The first one that they've added on is experience. There's a much greater focus now on end user, customer experience, possibly even employee experience. So now we've built it up. So value is utility plus warranty plus experience. If you're not doing all three of them, it's not valuable. Okay. The next one is sustainability. Likewise, sustainability is looking at what things we should or shouldn't do now that is going to potentially prevent us from doing something in the future. This could be environmental sustainability, it could be economic sustainability, it could be social sustainability. But whatever we're actually talking about in terms of that triple bottom line, sustainability has now got a seat on the table in terms of value. So value is now utility plus warranty plus experience plus sustainability. Again, not doing all four of those, not valuable. And then the last piece is about how they've changed the structure of the qualifications framework. They talk about it in terms of much clearer role-based pathways, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later. So, now for the softer bit. What's the same? There's an awful lot of ITIL 5 that is still the same as it was in ITIL 4 and 3 and 2. The 7 guiding principles continue to steer decisions. The 7 guiding principles are still exactly as they were. Likewise, the 4 dimensions of service management. They're totally intact, nothing's changed about them. The service value system still remains that backbone, that kind of structure of how do you organize around, and how do you structure yourself as a service provider, and how do you structure all the organizational aspects that we need to run. It has changed name because it's no longer just about service, because of that whole product and service piece. It's now called the ITIL value system, but it's a cosmetic change really. The 34 practices are totally retained, totally, well, I say totally the same. Some of the wording has been updated, as you would expect. There's been a kind of a little bit of a refresh within that. So I said we'd come back and have a bit more look at this unified life cycle, this whole product and service life cycle. So ITIL 5 talks about it unifying the digital product and service life cycle into a single end-to-end life cycle. It's pretty fundamental to what ITIL 5 is really all about. What's really changed between ITIL 4 and ITIL 5. It's fundamentally about this unifying the life cycle. It's really not actually inventing anything new. It's just formalizing what already happens. Products have always underpinned services. But ITIL wasn't structured that way. It wasn't structured around a shared life cycle. They often ran in parallel. There was this assumption that because we were updating the service, the product would kind of tag along, and it very rarely did. It used to have sort of separate owners, separate workflows, separate roadmaps. They've now brought that together, and they now treat digital products and digital services as equal components within this single end-to-end life cycle. This should reduce friction. It should reduce some of the silos between product and service teams. It also aligns with things like continuous delivery and platform models and AI-enabled operations, things that work best when product and service thinking are unified. So, simple message from this one. ITIL, although it is unifying the product and service lifecycle, there's more to it, but realistically it just makes explicit what was already true but was already, only implied in the past. There should be one unified life cycle, but we should be aware of how the two things interrelate. Next piece I said we'd come back and have a quick look at the value chain. The value chain has been sorted out. As I said, it was always a bit confusing. People always used to have a problem with understanding what it was meant to be and what it was meant to be for and how it was meant to be used. They've sorted it out. They've made it much clearer. There are now 8 activities. They are discover, design, acquire, build, transition, operate, deliver, and support. Most of them make sense in terms of what they used to be in terms of ITIL 4. They will need a bit more explanation, and I will do another video about this specifically in a couple of days' time. I also said we'd come back and have another look at what they mean by AI native. So guidance about using automation and AI and governing, very much kind of focused around governing AI, is now actually embedded throughout the entire guide. So whether that's the practice guides, whether that's the fundamental books themselves, AI guidance is put in there. They talk about various different AI adoption patterns that are relevant for IT service management, so things like assisted decision making and service desk virtual agents and incident trend analysis and all those sort of things that AI and machine learning are really good at. So it talks about these in terms of what patterns we can use AI in. But they also really importantly talk about themes for governing AI, so things like data quality and transparency and human oversight and risk and control and how do we manage the AI models. They also talk about practical guardrails, so think about how to start off with AI, low-risk use cases, and thinking about your thresholds, and think about how you measure experience. So there's some really good stuff in the AI governance piece. As it's ITIL, you would also expect that they also detail information about the roles and the skills that would be needed. So things like how does this weave into practice owners and practice managers, and thinking about all the different roles within ITIL that need AI literacy. Talks about things like model stewards and prompt design standards and things like that. And again, as you would expect with ITIL, it also talks about how to measure AI, how to measure the efficacy of it, and how to measure the control that we have over it. I also said that we would briefly introduce the ITIL 5 qualifications. So the first thing to say is your ITIL 4 qualifications are safe. They remain valid. The transition, they talked about this low pressure transition. Your ITIL version 4 foundation will count towards the higher level qualifications in ITIL 5. So when the new qualifications come out, which they're due to do over the rest of February, March, April, as those new qualifications come out, they're called Practice Manager, Managing Professional, and Strategic Leader, and ultimately up to ITIL Master. They kind of, these kind of, they sound very familiar. But the courses within that, the courses, the actual modules that will get you there have changed quite a lot. So we'll talk about those as they come out. So this has just been a really brief introduction to what ITIL 5 is all about. Essential message is it's changing. It's not changing vastly. Your current knowledge, your current skills, your current qualifications are all safe. The way you're doing service management is pretty much exactly the same as it's going to be. There will be some finesse, some ways of working that will be better. And those are kind of the areas that we'll explore over the next couple of weeks. But everything's good. This is just like a midlife. This is a refresh. This is bringing it up to date. I hope you found this useful. If you like it, please do click like below. I say I'll be doing loads more of these videos and digging deeper into all of these areas around ITIL, IT service management, and others, Agile and Prince and everything else that goes with. If you're interested in those, please do subscribe to our channel and come back again. If there's anything you do want to see, please let me know in the comments. But for now, thanks for watching. See you next time.